Joining us now is Yukon Huang. He's a senior associate at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace here in Washington, D.C. His research focuses on China's economic development and its impact on Asia and the global economy. Thanks so much for joining us. You know, this week we've seen world leaders gather here in Washington for the IMF World Bank meetings, the spring meetings. But it's not those banks that have been really the centre of attention. It's been the Asia Infrastructure Investment Bank. Obviously, lots to talk about. Why has it become so controversial, and what could be done to rectify it?
There's a symbolic aspect of this, of course. This is the first kind of multilateral institution in which China will play a major leading role, and that creates a precedent. And the sensitivities, of course. It's a very positive development for Asia. This bank is specialized. It's going to focus on infrastructure. It's not going to get into other kinds of lending. Its membership will be largely Asian, but it has partners from Europe, Australia.
Nearly 60 countries now.
60 countries now, and even you have some from the Middle East. So there's very strong support. And I think it's very good, in fact, to have China play this kind of very positive role in the region.
Why did this bank come about, and what is the need, I mean, in terms of infrastructure?
Well, there's what I call a geopolitical element. Yeah. The geopolitical element stems from the fact that China, other emerging market economies of great size, do not have a commensurate voting power in the IMF and World Bank. There's a sense that you need an institution which is more responsive to the clients in the emerging market countries, particularly Asia. And this fulfills a particular gap. It's a complementary gap in the sense that it plays a complementary role to the work of the AIIB or the World Bank, which gets into social issues, general balance of payment support, all sorts of social and economic analysis, which the AIIB probably will not be doing.
Right, so this is a pure sort of investment vehicle in big infrastructure projects. The US has been very reticent. You just heard Secretary Hank Paulson, former US Treasury Secretary, say that he thinks that the US attitude has been a mistake. Do you agree?
Well, I think the Secretary Paulson was correct. And I think the administration is, to his own credit, has shifted. It started to talk about cooperation, coordination, and talking about the AIIB in a positive role. I think that the mistake that the administration made was not recognizing that the creation of the AIIB is actually in America's interest. What is in America's interest? Its interest is to have China play a constructive role, to integrate it into the global economy in a responsible way. The creation of a multilateral lending agency like the AIIB actually fulfills those criteria.
Where will these investments be in Asia?
Well, you look at the kind of projects that they have in mind. They have power projects in mind, transport projects, ports projects, communication projects, energy self-sufficiency kinds of projects. These are all kinds of projects which will provide a basis for more rapid growth. They will improve connectivity throughout East Asia, South Asia, Central Asia, and therefore provide a stronger link with the Middle East as well as with Europe. In that sense, I think it fulfills a very strong niche that is needed in the region.
Is there a grander overall strategy here for China and other Asian powers, President Xi Jinping as well? You know, is this moving the balance economically from west to east?
Many people see it this way. There's a geopolitical element, of course. It fits in with this concept of the rise of Asia, a greater Asia. It fits into the concept of the Silk Route, improved connectivity with Central Asia and Europe, going through historical trade links. It talks about the fact that the maritime routes through Singapore, the Straits of Malacca, to the Indian Ocean, the Middle East.
All the way through Europe?
All the way through Europe. So some people see this as an issue of concern, a security issue. But in fact, if you look at it, it has a very positive force in terms of trade, flow of services, goods, ideas.
Because it's an economic integration model, right?
And we have to remember, of course, that you just don't lend. The clients have to be interested in the project. Right. They have a say. They have to repay back. So it's not a kind of a situation in which one side says, here's what I'm going to do. It's a situation where the client says, I need support in this area. I need help in these investments. And can AIIB fulfill that role? And also, one has to realize there's still the World Bank out there. There's still the Asian Development Bank. There's going to be what I call more competition. And more competition is good for everybody. It improves the product.
Is there also the potential of cooperation between the World Bank, IMF?
I think you're going to see this immediately. I think the first loans, for example, the AIIB makes probably next year, may actually be what we call co-financing with the World Bank or the Asian Development Bank. That is a very fairly big project. It benefits from having both institutions involved. It spreads experience and knowledge, particularly in the early stages. So I think it's a good way. IMF, for example. IMF, World Bank do a lot of economic, financial analysis of countries, of risks, concerns. I don't think the AIIB wants to get into those issues. So, in fact, probably borrow, trade, or use that information. So I think you're going to see a sharing. This is also very good for everybody because it's going to make everybody more efficient.
So do you see U.S. reticence over time waning? Should they be an observer already?
I think the U.S. should play a role in encouraging these kinds of collaboration. I think the U.S. could benefit, and I think the AIIB could benefit from having America as an observer status. There are work groups and efforts underway to design the concept of what the AIIB. It'd be in fact, very good for America to play an observer role in those fora.
And so many U.S. allies have joined on board as founding members from Germany, the U.K., Japan, of course, is thinking about it. So,
I think so. I think, frankly, someday down the line, when there's less what I call political tensions in the world, you're likely to find America on the board of the AIIB.
Well, fascinating discussion. We'll have to leave it there. That's all we have time for. But the conversation does continue online. Join us on CCTV America's Facebook page to comment on this or any other of our shows, or chat with us on Twitter at CCTV_America. I'm Nathan King in Washington, D.C., and thanks for watching.